All right, guys, we are back with a serious and informative, really good episode, in my opinion. This is Dre Taylor. He is, first of all, Kansas City is lucky to have this guy as part of our community. He is a mentor, and he's helping the inner city out with a good message doing aquaponics. I didn't know what aquaponics was. I've heard of hydroponics. Aquaponics, you use fish. You use fish and rocks to grow vegetables. I didn't know this thing was. I didn't even know. And then you can sell the fish. You can eat the fish. There's bugs. The bugs are eating. The fish are eating the bugs. It's a whole big circle. Whew. This guy, Dre Taylor, is a man of men. This dude's a humble badass, is all I gotta say. Not a big talker. He just does it. He's really, really smart. Probably he's one of the smartest dudes I've had on the just people that I've had on the podcast to date by far. Really good message. Interesting guy. Just a real thought-provoking, interesting guy. And I'm going to put a link in there for the show notes for Nile Valley Aquaponics. It's here in Kansas City. It's a nonprofit that he runs. And look, I'm not going to tell you guys how to spend your money. Far be it for me to do that. But if you happen to have a couple bucks burning a hole in your pocket, hit that link. Check out the website. And if you feel compelled to donate, that'd be awesome. It's an amazing cause. And I think once you guys hear this episode and what this guy's all about, I think you, I don't know, hopefully you'll be touched and maybe think about things a little bit differently. Yeah, without any further ado, this is Dre Taylor, you guys, episode 46. I'm going to take one more minute here to just say thank you guys for rating and reviewing the podcast. I see you and I see it and I thank you. It feels good. Yeah, I don't need to keep asking for it. I mean, I will keep asking for it. Don't worry. But I'm let you guys off the hook, and I'm not going to ask for it because you guys did a nice little job. Anyways, here we go. Episode 46, Dre Taylor. Starting 3, 2, 1. What's up, Dre Taylor? I'm Ryan.
Good afternoon, Dre Taylor here.
What a beautiful radio voice.
I heard that a time or two.
I bet you have.
Right.
So I had you on, or I found out about you from our friend Kristen Thomas, a.k.a. Sex Coach.
Mm-hmm.
She was on the podcast, I don't know, 6 months or 7 months ago, something like that. Told me I should talk to you, and I looked into you.
I wasn't a client, by the way, so get that cleared up. I wasn't having any issues or problems. It was before she became the coach.
Oh, pre-coach times.
Yeah, pre-coach. She
when she was in the minor leagues.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but she was doing some work with a energy company, and I received some generators to their company from my project. So that's our relationship.
What project? Generators for a project? What project was that?
The nonprofit I have, Nile Valley Aquaponics.
Valley Aquaponics?
Uh-huh. On 29th and Wabash.
29th and Wabash.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Kansas City here.
Yeah, right in the middle of the hood.
I was just going to say that.
Yep.
Right in the hood. So,
yeah.
Valley. So, you must be growing all kinds of weed in there.
Not at all.
I'm just kidding. That's
yeah,
what every probably jumps to. That's why I said it.
Yeah, people think I am, but I'm not. They ask that question at least once a week.
I had to just for the people.
Right.
I knew what it was.
Right.
But yeah, tell us about the. You still do that?
Yeah, I still do it. Started in 2015.
Hydroponics or aquaponics?
Aquaponics. Hydroponics is growing vegetables in like a nutrient-rich liquid fertilizer. Aquaponics is raising fish to use to fertilize your vegetables.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah, pretty neat, impressive.
You're so used to it now. You're like, yeah, it's pretty neat. But
yeah,
for someone like who's never really heard about, like I've never really heard about that. Really, people using fish to, I guess they fertilize it for you.
Yeah, their waste, their poop and pee is actually like my soil, and so I raise my plants in no soil in my system.
I didn't know fish peed.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that mean they drink?
I think they do. I think they do.
I never thought about that. I mean, obviously they poop. They got that long stringy poop.
Yeah.
How the heck do you? How does that even start? How do you begin? Oh yeah, like when did you first time even heard? When did you hear about using fish for like aquaponic? Or I guess that's the definition of aquaponics is kind of using fish. Like
Yeah,
that?
using fish to fertilize your plants.
That's probably been around for a long time then.
Yeah, well, it's called Now Valley Aquaponics, and so they started raising fish and vegetables thousands of years ago, cultivating, BC era. They got pictures of tilapia on pyramids and things of that nature.
Really?
And so people always think, tilapia man-made, don't eat tilapia, this and that, but they've been eating fish for thousands of years. It's tilapia. You can't just produce a man-made fish. It's like reproducing a human from nothing. And so just a lot of ignorance, lack of information about people not really studying their information on the topics they be talking about. So I heard it first maybe about 2010. My uncle was like, hey, you can grow vegetables using fish waste. And the vegetables are growing in rocks. And I was like, thought it was one of the coolest things ever. So
right.
A couple months later, I was just looking online on YouTube, and a guy named Will Allen was coming to Kansas City at East High School, and he was doing a presentation. So me, my uncle, my grandfather attended a workshop that he had here, and we learned how to build a 4-foot by 4-foot aquaponics system at this workshop. Will Allen is one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in the world because he grows 1 million pounds on less than 3 acres of land up in Milwaukee.
Wow.
And so he was like Michelle Obama's health initiative, doing all the stuff up there with her. He's probably trained more farmers in the world than anybody else, so he probably produced over thousands of farmers, and I'm just one of the people that he helped train, and that's my mentor, so I call him up. I was just seeing him maybe about 3 weeks ago in Milwaukee to look at some CBD things up there. But he did the workshop, and we all went home. We built our own little 4x4-foot aquaponic systems at our house, and been doing it since 2011. 2013, I started a mentor program called Males to Men. And so I have about 50 boys now that I mentor every Monday. They've been working at the city market the past 3 years. It was called the Veggie Valet.
Oh, cool.
Out there. And so this will be the first year we're not going to be out there. We're going to be doing some more things in the community. But they were helping people with their groceries and getting tips off their groceries that they would help wag around the city market.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was some of the things we do with our boys. They also have a partnership with the Black Pilot Association. So the Black Pilot Association.
What's that?
And so an association just with black pilots.
Airplane pilots? Okay.
And so we would fly, 30, 40 plus boys and some girls around private planes owned by black pilots around Kansas City. So they would fly over Arrowhead Stadium, Rosa Fun, the plaza in downtown. And so just to expose them to as much as possible. We sent a couple kids to Oshkosh, Wisconsin to actually learn how to fly a plane.
Oh, wow.
One of our goals is to actually own a plane. That way kids can get their pilot license before they graduate high school and get them into aviation. So that's some of the things we do with our boys. And so I said I want to teach my boys about entrepreneurship, giving back to the community, and growing food. And I said, what better way than aquaponics? And this is 2013. And so 2014, went to Milwaukee. I seen his setup. I seen his chickens. I seen goats. I seen the fish. I seen the vegetables. I seen the greenhouses he had up there. And I said I want to do the same thing in Kansas City. So I came to Kansas City, learned how to write grants. I partnered with an organization I'm no longer partnered with, and learn how to write grants and start receiving funding. And so me and my boys built a small little 4-foot by 8-foot aquaponics system in a basement where we was mentoring out of, called the Mary Kelly Center. I used to attend that center when it was an elementary called Graceland. I used to live right down the street, and that's where we mentored out of. And so me and my boys built a small little system in the basement, 4-foot by 8-foot, with a 100-gallon fish tank. And we used to bring funders down to this basement so they could see the fish swimming, they could see the vegetables growing, and that's how we start receiving funds, by funders seeing what we're trying to accomplish in that small little system. They were so amused by seeing the fish and seeing the vegetables growing in rocks, where people seen the vision of me building a greenhouse. So I went from a 4-foot by 8-foot table, 100-gallon tank, to
that's almost as big as this table.
Yeah,
it's very similar. This is
about an 8-foot by 4-foot table. And so this is where our grow bed was, and so we just had rocks in here. We had a 100-gallon tank that would probably be on the floor. under this table. And so we went from this to 5 vacant lots, and the city cut down 18 trees for us. We repurposed 5 of those trees, and so we have like some walnut slabs and catappa slabs.
Really?
And so
Oh, that's so cool.
So we show people how to repurpose some things on
Right.
vacant lots. That people see vacant lots, they think it as, they see trash, whatever. But sometimes I see opportunity in some things. And so we have probably about $20,000 worth of walnut slabs on the property just sitting there that we're going to reuse. I know one of them is on my desk. We made a desk out of from my office across the street.
Oh, wow.
So we have a house across the street from the greenhouse that I purchased, and that's where we mentor out of now. And we're trying to put a commercial kitchen in there. So we can do food demonstrations, cooking classes, and things of that nature. So we're going to be our architectural firm. They came with some good renderings for us to do that house right across the street. So we're trying to do economic development, improve the community, and give access to healthy food, and just produce food for people in the community. And so we built our greenhouse. It's 30 feet wide, 150 feet long, so 4,500 square feet. We have
35 feet by 100 feet?
150 feet.
150, wow.
So 4,500 square feet.
That's really
inside
big.
of our greenhouse. And we have 3 fish tanks.
How big's a fish tank?
Our fish tanks, so we have 2 fish tanks that's 6 feet deep, 4 foot wide, 120 feet long.
That's
so we have
not a fish tank. That's a pool.
Yeah, we have 2 20,000-gallon tanks and have 1 10,000-gallon tanks. We got about 25,000 tilapia currently inside of our fish tanks.
Okay, so it's tilapia. That's the fish that you got.
That's what we grow.
Is that the standard fish for most aquaponics? Or
yeah, it's pretty standard for most aquaponics. It's probably the 3rd most consumable fish in the country.
You guys eat them then, right? Too.
Yes.
Do they? So when they're in captivity, are they breeding as well? Like, do they live in there and breed?
Yeah, they'll breed in there. They'll breed in most commercial fisheries only have male fish because male fish grows twice as fast as female fish. So you don't want to feed a fish is twice as much as you can grow it, in a little amount of time, because at the end of the day, most people are trying to grow for profit.
Are you trying to grow the fish for, like, is that part of the profit? Is the fish too?
Yeah, that's part of the profit. The fish, the vegetables, the tours, and we're a nonprofit, so we get a lot of donations and grants to keep us afloat. So we always accepting donations. You go to nowvalleyaponics.com and donate to our program. See what we're doing first. Check us out. Come visit. Bring some kids. We have 13 goats on the property, and so you can feed the goats. We probably have close to 2,000 people that come to our facility a year. So we service the community. We service the neighbors. We have a free community garden outside of our fence. That way we don't have to worry about security because we're feeding people food for free, where they don't have to worry about breaking in and stealing anything. So we haven't had any issues with break-ins or thefts on touring at the Wild Bash, which speaks volumes to the community that we pretty much, raised up with our program there.
They say there's no honor among thieves, but you would hope that they are kind of like, hey, these people are doing good over here. Let's kind of leave them be.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it's been. Everybody respects the facility. All the neighbors, they enjoy, seeing the kids be involved. So there's a lot of kids around the neighborhood that work at the greenhouse, so they come there after school. Do you have any work for us to do? And, they might get $5 or $10 for doing something at the greenhouse. So that goes a long way for kids that's, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old.
It goes a long way for me.
Right. Some gas money.
Yeah.
So we just try to support the community as much as possible. It's like our investment plan. You invest in kids, later on in life, they're going to turn around and do it for somebody else, trying to be an example, set the example. So I think we're doing a good job where we're at.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I meet these people like you that just have you obviously have like a heart of gold. You just want to help these people out. I mean, you might not want to admit it, but where does that come from? Did that start from something that just said, hey, I want to mentor people, mentor kids especially? Where did that come from?
My family come from a good family, I guess, where, that was just like the norm of helping kids. Like my grandmother, both my grandmothers was big on kids, and my mom would take in cousins and things of that nature. And so just seeing it, living it, experiencing it. So it was something that came natural. I grew up on 51st and Warren, for a small period of my time. And, 51st is notorious for a lot of gang activity and things of that nature. Half the people I grew up with are dead. My best friend's dead. I got a stepbrother that's killed. And so when you see those things and you say, okay, what can I do to prevent people from going down that same road. You know,
Mhm.
what can I do to, you know, help out and stop it and show them something different? Then it's my role, just doing my role, just doing my part. You know, that's all I'm figuring I'm doing is playing my part. I don't see it as something noble, just doing something that needs to be done.
It doesn't get done often enough.
No, you know.
You know, I mean, and so it's just special to see when it is being done, and like how cool it is. It's like it's inspiring to a lot of people. You know, it's really cool to see people. You know, there's so many people, especially this day and age, just want to bitch about things.
Yeah,
They
it's
just,
a lot of those.
you know, but they want to bitch about a problem, but they want to sit back and bitch about it. They don't actually want to get involved and try and like, what's that old expression? You're either part of the problem or
Part of the solution.
yeah. But so many people don't want to be part of the solution.
Yeah, I mean, people are comfortable to have their day-to-day lives. You know, they go to work, and you know,
Mhm.
it's a lot easier to vent, get on their little phone and type in wherever they want to type in
Right.
and express their opinions. Like, and so everybody have opinions, and they're entitled to theirs. And so, you know, that's that. I don't spend time on those people. I spend my energy on positive things moving forward. Because anytime I have to stop to address things, I'm slowing my momentum down. So I just keep
Right.
moving forward, doing what I'm doing.
So you've been almost doing it 6 years, I'd say, right? 2003,
2000,
13. What'd you say?
I started
13.
mentoring in 2013.
Right.
Aquaponics 2011.
Okay, yeah. So almost 6 years of mentoring.
Yeah. Well, I actually started mentoring in 2008 with Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Oh, okay. That's how. Okay.
Yeah, so I started with Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Wow. And so what have you seen since the aquaponic stuff? I mean, so it's been 6 years. You probably haven't. Maybe you've seen somebody get to like adulthood almost, right? 18. Did you have any like 12-year-olds? Like, have you seen some really big? Like, what are some of the cool impacts you've seen touching these kids? And just, I mean, 6 years is kind of a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. We had a couple probably graduate high school and off in college doing, and one's in the Air Force. One, we didn't know he was in tune with agriculture. He really didn't talk that much, and he's going to school, Northwest Missouri State, learning about agriculture up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a few that went to college, and most of our guys are young. They like, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the gist of what we have here. And we focused in on boys from 9 to 17. And so we're doing the best we can with them. You know, the impacts we have is we try to expose them to as much as possible. It's like plant as many seeds.
Right.
Some seeds are going to grow faster than others. And some,
parable, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
some you don't know are going to grow at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you try to plant as many seeds in their head as possible. And hopefully that, we can have some sprout out, and I don't have to keep doing this thing I'm doing, that they're going to take over. So that's the goal, is to train them up where, they can take over my position at the greenhouse, take over my position, mentoring. I'm not trying to do this the rest of my life. Sign of a good teacher is when the student surpasses the teacher.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to, teach as much as possible so they can continue to blossom and spread it and get other people underneath them.
Yeah. Was the beginning of, so when you first started your 4x8 grow table, whatever.
Yeah, grow table, yeah.
What was your guys' initiative to, like, why did you want to do that? Just because it was cool and you wanted vegetables to eat for yourselves, or did you have a mind of selling it later? Like, why did you start? What was just a hobby?
No, it was to teach boys how to be self-sufficient and grow food, in a small space, with ideas of getting our own greenhouse. And so we started with that table. So that was a boy's first time using like hand tools, using a tape measure.
Oh, it was just, so you guys, you started it just with the idea of helping kids out and like showing people a different way?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a different way of gardening. Most people
Yeah.
are accustomed to putting things in soil and growing it that way.
That's right.
They're not accustomed to growing things indoor under T5 lights, unless you're growing like some cannabis or something, but some others. But just showing people a different way to grow food that's sustainable, that it's pretty self-sufficient. It reduces your carbon footprint, because aquaponics uses 90% less water than traditional farming, because the water just circulates through the system. And so it all those different things and growing indoors. And that's all we were just trying to show the boys, is how to build a system, how to use tape measure, how to use a handsaw or a drill, things of that nature.
Right.
So things that if a man was at home, they would teach their son how to do. And so we focus in on some of those skills that are lost when you have single mothers, where once you grow up and you finally get a girlfriend and she's asking you to patch this hole in a wall and you have no idea how to patch a hole.
That's me.
How to
That's
how
me.
to how to change a tire, how to check the fluids, what's the difference between the transmission fluid and oil fluid. So we try to teach our boys, these standard things that when the times come a man, these things you should be knowing how to do. So not every man know how to do
I'm not
it,
a man.
So
not a man. There goes my man card right now. You just took it from me.
How to tie, just those separate things,
Right.
So
that's what YouTube's for this day.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you can get on YouTube and learn everything you want to learn. And so I grew up with a grandfather, and he had one of my grandfathers, he had a whole bunch of books, and so everything he wanted to do, he would buy a book before the internet. And call him OG, the original Google, because he knew everything. And so he didn't believe in paying people to do things. So he would have all these books around, from cars to encyclopedias and dictionary. And so he would learn how to do this stuff, and he would just do it, And so I was always a fan of when the internet thing came, get on YouTube and learn from there. So a lot of the aquaponics stuff I learned from YouTube and just watching videos. And I haven't on the TV in about 7 years. I'm usually reading or learning, and so I don't spend my time much on TV. So I'm always doing something, staying busy.
I've been having a real struggle lately with that. With my TV upstairs, I haven't watched TV. I've been not necessarily a cord cutter, because I have obviously still got cords going to the internet and shit. But I haven't had internet in like 12, 13 years, something like, or not internet, TV in like 12 or 13 years. But I still have my Xbox, and I've just been lately finding myself on it too much.
Right.
And I'm thinking about just giving it to my ex-wife, so when the kids are over there, they can have it. Yeah, it's becoming an issue.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're addicting. It's like a drug. It really is.
Yeah, everybody have their their thing they go to.
So I'm really trying to work on get that and just start reading more, because I love reading books. And I just keep telling, I was yelling at myself last night, like, why are you being so lazy playing this game? You got a book over here you just bought, you want to go read. Like, why aren't you doing that?
Right.
Is OG still around?
Yeah, he's still around. He come around to the greenhouse every now and again, and we sit and talk about a whole bunch of different variety of things.
What does he think about Google, the real Google, and YouTube?
I don't think he gets on there. He have a computer, but I don't think he gets on that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
He'd still rather read?
Yeah, he'd rather read. He's moving slower than he used to move. So
yeah.
My
grandpa's the same way. He's got a million books, but he was more of like a Shakespeare and playwright. He wasn't trying to read how to fix an engine.
Right.
But that's the great thing about people and books. Whatever you like, that's what you can just gravitate towards. So now, like I said, but when you came in before you turned these on, you're like a man of many hats. You got so many irons in the fire, it seems, based on your...
pretty much.
So you got this cannabis thing you kind of mentioned. Are you in, like, can you explain your cannabis, I don't know. What are you trying to do with Missouri? Is it Missouri cannabis you're trying? Because we just, folks that don't know that aren't here in Missouri, we just passed it. We just voted and it passed medicinal. I don't know much more. I don't know much more than that.
Right. Yeah, and so before the cannabis, I also have a food co-op. So I got like 200 fruit trees in Swope Park.
What's that? Wait, what's a food co-op? Trees in Swope Park? What's going on here?
We got like 200 fruit trees in Swope Park that we planted. So one day I posted something online about what you should do with like some vacant lots. All of a sudden it went viral. I don't know if it went viral. It was like 1,000 likes and 900 shares. And so all of a sudden,
Kansas City viral.
Yeah. And so I was all of a sudden, in charge of a damn food co-op, by posting some online. And so I had a meeting 2 weeks later from that post, and like over 200 people showed up. So like,
wow.
Damn, this is crazy. These people are concerned about their food insecurity and this and that. And so we had another meeting, and like, damn, we got to plant these damn fruit trees now. And so we plant like, different varieties of apple, pear, peach in Swope Park. We have like 300-foot rows of blackberries, raspberries, and fig trees. So this is our second year there. And so
we're at in Swope Park,
right behind a dog park off Gregory.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's fenced in with some deer fencing around it. And so we have goals on planting the other side. We have about 3 acres with the city there, another 3 acres on the other side. We want to do some tropical greenhouses growing tropical fruit.
Oh.
So like some bananas, apples, not apples, but oranges, papayas, and things like that. So
grapefruit.
Yeah.
I lived in Arizona for a little bit, and that was like one of the coolest things. There's all the grapefruit trees around.
Mm-hmm.
You just wake up for breakfast, go out, grab yourself a grapefruit.
Yeah, can't beat something fresh.
Fresh and free.
Right.
It's just everywhere, yeah. Are you guys selling? So what does that mean? What does it grow up mean? Does that mean you guys are growing that out there and selling it, or do you give it?
So it's a co-op, so it's a means for us to be able to create income from the fruit that we grow there. So we got another 2 years for our fruit to start really growing off those trees, and so we'll make our own wine from some from the fruit we grow, and so just a way to be an economic empowerment, as well as as climate change is happening, you need to start growing your own food. And so Kansas City have more access to, like a handgun than you do some organic fruit, and so I just think.
Almost cheaper, too.
Yeah, cheaper, plus, in 20 years, we'll do close to 1 million pounds of fruit from that orchard. And so being able to produce that amount of fruit in Kansas City to be distributed to the urban core, which lacks, healthy food options, I think it just, something needs to be done. It's something that everybody should be planting a damn fruit tree somewhere. So
you're right about that. Then those will be actual that's really cool. Can people go check that out whenever they want to, or is that?
Yeah, it's right there behind a dog park.
And people can you can have just guests come walk it and check it out.
Well, it's fenced in. And we have a section, like a community section, that's not fenced in. So
can you go donate there? Has you got a donate box or something?
No, I wouldn't put a donate box out.
Oh wait,
there.
yeah, it's Swope Park.
Yeah, somebody have their way with it,
right?
We have 20 trees outside of our fence that we planted, so that'll be free for anybody that just want to come up and pick some fruit off of that tree, and if the deer, between the people and the deer, whoever gets to it first. And so
I've been trying to hunt deer out there.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna like that.
No, they do. They have
the bows, crossbows or something. I think you use.
Oh yeah, a crossbow or a regular bow. I have a regular bow. Every year they have it's a lottery, and you put your name in a hat basically to see if you can hunt Swope Park.
Right.
And they pick, I don't know, 12 or 15 people. I don't know what the number is, but it's not a huge number. But not a ton of people enter the lottery. I've entered it 3 or 4 years in a row. I can't believe I haven't been picked yet. I think this is the year.
Yeah.
And I want to hunt right in that area. There's a spot that's right in that area that you can hunt.
Yeah, they visit the park. They can't get over our fence. Well, they probably could if they wanted to. I think it's like an 8-foot tall fence. I think deer can get up there.
They could.
Yeah, if they really wanted to.
Yeah, but they don't probably need to. There's so much other stuff out there.
Forage out there, so it's not a need.
Yeah. So let's go with the cannabis.
Yeah. So the cannabis, people have been asking me, since I started this whole farmer thing, what do you think about cannabis? I'm like, I never smoked weed before.
I figured that's where everybody would have thought. Like, you must be growing the aquaponics for.
Yeah, you have some nosy police that came in a couple of times, thinking they want to see, what I'm doing, and like if they couldn't even spot if it was in front of their face. But I shouldn't have said that. But
no, I know what you mean. We've all met cops.
Yeah, and so just because I'm in a growing field, they just assume that I'm growing marijuana, and so we'd have senators come down. I would have state reps come down. They would ask my opinion on, cannabis before it actually passed. And so once it passed, I really wasn't interested until after it passed. And then once it passed, I took it more serious. Like, okay, now this thing done passed. What is my role and what can I do in this space? And so, upon looking at research, and I've been looking at it for a while. Right? Yeah, some ways it's not as much as people think. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Not just growing it, but compliances, making sure that you're doing everything that state regulates, that state's requiring you to do. Worry about security, transportation, insects, pest management, having the funds to do it,
Oh, yeah.
operational. So it's a lot of stuff.
There is a
that
lot
goes-
more into it.
Yeah,
than
it's not just growing.
You don't have all
growing
that
in-
other
Yeah.
baggage with tomatoes.
Yeah, if you was just
Right.
growing in a basement or something like that, then yeah,
Right.
besides looking over your shoulder, but it's a lot more to it than people think.
Mm-hmm.
But even looking into, the cannabis industry, like less than 5% of the people in the industry are of black descent. So looking at that,
less than 5% in the
less than 5%. And so
wow.
I, just raised that question, like, okay, how can the people who've been, disfranchised and been, targeted for the so-called war on drugs,
Oh, it's absolutely
over the last 30 years, and how can we participate in this? And if you can use the same energy, just a fraction of the energy that you had to target, black people in general for these drugs, even though they're brought in purpose. And what was it? Nixon's secretary said that was the main goal. They couldn't say war on black people, so they had it described as war on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was from Nixon's administration 30 years ago, and it just continued to cycle for the last, still going. And so now that it's free,
It's gotten worse.
I don't know if it's worse, but it's still there.
I don't know.
But now that it's legal and you have all these people making money, and you still have people sitting in jail for the same thing they said it was wrong, and now all of a sudden it's right.
Right.
So it just don't make sense. So they have cities that's taking initiatives where they're expunging previous records, but how do you make up for that lost time? And so if you can put that same energy, or just a fraction of that energy that you had towards criminalizing these people, towards making some kind of access or some kind of equity program for minorities to get into something that you created in the first place, I think that should just be the only right thing. But a lot of people say, well, it's a free market. You should be able to do this. You should be able to do that. Yeah, that's true. But this market has been targeted and, been stepped on for 30 years. And now that it's free market, it's not actually a free market. Because you can't do this because you have a felony, X, Y, and Z. Now this is big upfront cost to get into this industry when, you don't use, billions of dollars criminalizing black people for, possession, when most of drugs and illegal substances are in the suburbs, but they never had that same energy to focus out there towards the inner city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the truth. So what do you want to see put in place for that to kind of help out? Do you see any kind of, I don't know,
Well, they wrote
laws or any initiatives or anything that needs to, do you have a solution to help other than, obviously you're doing the solution by actually using your hands and getting these kids and teaching them,
right.
and eventually they'll be able to get to that point.
Right.
But it just got legalized here in Missouri just yesterday, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your ideas or a solution or an idea for to make that happen? Get more black people involved.
Solution ideas, creating social equity programs. So they have social equity programs in like Maryland, Oakland, which is real progressive, in California and other places in California besides Oakland, to do programs where it's teaching people how to grow. The licenses in certain areas should be set aside for those who live in that area who've been targeted by the drug
I like that
system.
idea.
And so,
there you go. I like that.
Those are ways that you can combat, things. You can't rewrite the wrongs because you have a lot of families disrupted over the drug war, so-called drug war. So you can't rewrite the wrongs, but you can start making things right today and just setting out programs and things like that, because people don't understand how deep things went with the drugs. As far as a lot of people make money off, I write grants. And so a lot of people make money off writing grants. So what's wrong with black boys? How do we profit from these? All these nonprofits make money off of black boys, and the system of the drugs and the fallout of it. And so there was ways for a lot of people to make money and benefit off the incarceration of black people. And so
privatized prisons.
That
was the biggest. That's one of the biggest things that pissed me off.
Yeah,
people want to talk about how great Reagan is. He's the one that privatized the prisons in the first place. And
Reagan.
That's fucked everything, really.
Yeah, and it's like when you look at a black kid, you don't understand how much he's actually worth to the system. And so anywhere from the school to prison pipeline. So anywhere from the ADHD drugs that they give the kids, from a teacher that can say, hey, he needs this, and she's no damn doctor, so how can she, suggest this kid needs this drug?
Mm-hmm.
And so from the drug manufacturers who make the drugs to, the criminalization of the kids for getting caught with maybe illegal substances, where, you're more likely to do a longer sentence and get a lighter, heavier fine than the counterpart of, a young white male who has more access to capital, or just because of his skin color, get off of whatever, a slap on the wrist, compared to us going to jail for 5 years for something that, just don't make no sense. And so you have the lawyer, you have the prosecutor, you have the judge, you have the clerk, everybody benefiting from black kids in the system. And it's like something that just has to keep on going on and on and on. And, all these plea deals they're forcing the kids to take because they have no lawyer, can't afford it. And so, I mean, this is a big system where people just benefit off the criminalization of, young black males. And, how can you rewrite these wrongs that we know, looking at the numbers, that, if you stop, 2 cars, one's black, one's white, you have more likely, it's more likely that the white driver will have possession of a illegal substance than a black driver. And then you're 6 times more likely to get pulled over if you're black, So you got all these numbers that says this is this, but it continues to happen over and over and over again. So how do you stop that? And so those are some things we teach our boys. Just, these are the statistics. These are what you're up against. These are the hurdles you have to jump over. These are the pitfalls that you have to go through, where don't get caught up in the system, whatever you do, because the system is made for you to get caught up in, to stay inside of the system. So these are some.
Yeah, once you get in, it's so hard to get out.
Yep. So those are some of the things we try to teach our boys.
Do a lot of them listen?
Yeah, for the most part. They're all young, and so sometimes you don't think they're listening, but they go home and tell their mothers everything. They say, hey, they learned X, Y, Z. Like, shit, I didn't think he was listening. He looked like he was half asleep.
Right.
But, yeah, they listen, and we pound it in their head. We try not to preach to them. Nobody want to hear that stuff, all the time. But, sometimes it sticks, sometimes it don't. And so, you just have to make an impression on them.
I mean, that's the right kind of that's kind of that age where you want to get them before kind of the street gets them, right?
Yeah.
Like right in that age, isn't that kind of like that age where, all right, I'm starting to get puberty now, my hormones are going.
Yeah, you start like feeling yourself. Girls will start looking attractive.
Yeah.
And all these different things. You have your peer group.
Exactly.
And so, you try to get them. They have impressionable minds, so that's why I like to work with kids. But their mind is wide open. They're still learning. They're willing to learn. Adults, they're where they're at. They're stuck. I don't waste my time on them because they're doing their own thing. So I have no time to deal with a lot of people. But I focus in on kids because, like I said, their minds are impressionable, and this is a good time to start, getting them on the right path and changing the trajectory and where they should be going in the future.
I believe the children are the future.
Is that Randy Watson coming to America?
Yeah. How old are you?
38.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm 39.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. You been having fun? Is this fun? It seems stressful.
No, not stressful at all.
I mean, for a guy like me, like you're just, you seem so busy. Like that seems stressful to me, like doing all these different things.
No, I don't get stressed. I live my life. I take things how they come. I'm thankful I wake up in the morning every day.
Right.
A lot of people don't wake up. I'm above ground. I'm not below it. So I'm thankful just to be alive and breathing. Like I said, a lot of people didn't make it to this age, and so I'm happy. I might not look it, but I'm happy to be alive, and I'm breathing, walking, talking. I have no complaints in the world. I have the ability to, make money. I can get from point A to B. I have a roof over my head. I got food. I can grow my own shit. So what do I have to complain about, man? You look at your life compared to other people's in the rest of the world, man. You like, I have no reason to complain.
Oh, we're in the, I think we're in the 1%.
Yeah, well, somewhere close to that. I mean, but
world, if you look at the world.
Yeah, if you look at the world,
we're like in the top 1%.
Yeah, you look at the world, and sometimes we think that the blessings that we receive is actually nightmares to others, and so sometimes we're thankful for some things and not understanding, how things were obtained. So like you look at your cell phone, like, oh, I got this cell phone, and people are happy I got this new iPhone 8 or whatever the hell they're on now. But all the things that come from like the coltan that kids are dying in Congo for making these smartphones and all these different things.
That's funny you said, yeah.
So it's like, we got this new car, even though I got an SUV, I'm driving this SUV, polluting the planet and shit like that. People are dying, from our over usage of different things. And so
right.
I try to cut back and be mindful, and sometimes on some of the things I do, from planting plants, being local, reducing my carbon footprint. I breed insects to feed to my fish because it takes 1 pound of feed to feed your fish. And so how they make this fish meal to feed your fish, they take, fish out the ocean to feed other fish, which it makes sense. So it's unsustainable to do so.
Right.
And so I'm looking at sustainable ways to do things. So we breed insects to feed to our fish called black soldier fly larvae. So it's basically maggots. 40% protein, 30% fat, has an antibiotic in them that the medical industry uses for certain illnesses. So they squeeze what's called the lipids out of these insects, and it helps diseases and illnesses out of people. And so that's where we're feeding our fish. And so I went to Guangzhou, China to learn how to breed these things on a commercial level. And so they was doing like 10,000.
You went to China to learn all that?
Yeah, Guangzou, China. So they was doing like 20 tons of insects a day there.
What's it like being a black guy in China?
They look, you know what I mean? It was different, unique, and
do they treat you good, or are they kind of racist over there?
I heard everybody was pretty minding their own business,
Really?
It was
Okay.
kind of like Guangzhou was probably like 18 million people or something like that, 15
Whoa.
million people
In one city?
So it was like a big city like New York City.
Woo.
And people was on the go. It was like a busy city.
Okay.
And so everybody was on the go, and you cut in an alley, and it's like one of those old movies you see where people have the markets and they have the clothes hanging up and they're living in between the big buildings. And so
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
it was a crazy setup. It was a unique experience. They treated me good. I had some good hosts there. Took me out, every day, and we just learned about these insects at the university. I can't even think of the university that I went to, but it was a good time there.
Why did you how do you find yourself in China? Like, how did that happen? Someone hit you up, said, "Hey, want to come learn about some bugs in China?"
Well, I was growing them in that basement I had.
Okay.
And I said, man, let me get these bugs. I ordered them, and they was all over the damn place at the school. And they was like, what the hell you doing all these damn bugs? They flying around. It was luckily I was in the basement of the school, so it really didn't bother nobody. But
right.
they was like, what the hell is going on down here?
Right.
And I just didn't know the effect that I had with these bugs. And so, I started looking into it more. It's like, man, I need to learn more about them. So just on YouTube, and I seen a company on YouTube that was doing it, and happened to be this company out in China. And so I flew out there to China and learned how to what they were doing with them, to breed them, and how to utilize them. So.
And you just by yourself, or did you bring a partner?
My partner, we went down there, had a scheduling conflict, so he left before I got there, and so he got there a couple of days, and then I got there right after him, and so we missed each other, but we was both down there, just not at the same time.
So when they're teaching you, like, how long were you there? A week?
I was there for about 4 or 5 days.
Just learning the whole time? And are you
pretty
taking
much.
notes? Are you taking video? Or are you just so smart you remembered it? Like, how does that work? How do you even remember how to do all that?
Took some pictures and videos.
Yeah.
And I was familiar with it already. I just wanted to see the setup and what they were doing different and all those different things.
Traveled the other side of the world just to go to the... That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
wow.
It's kind of like the future of a lot of different things. These insects.
Really?
Like I said,
nobody thinks about insects.
No, I mean, with the rising population, 2 billion people on this earth eat insects. And so when you think of that, you're like, okay, we need to start figuring out more ways to be sustainable. And insects are one of those ways where you have insect protein. Nobody ever thought about some chocolate covered crickets before. And now they're selling those at Whole Foods and other places, and now they're going to get into other insects that you can possibly eat as an alternative source to protein. And so these insects can eat like 2 pounds per square feet of waste, whatever the waste may be. And so food waste. So if you have 40% of the food that goes into a landfill that creates greenhouse gases and causes global warming, how do you reduce that? So you can feed that waste to insects to eat that, and you can take the insects and feed to other animals, so you're reducing your carbon footprint on the planet. And so you're reducing global warming, on different levels. And so this is just one way to do it with these insects that, I breed.
You're a big global warming guy.
It's sustainability when you look at farming in general. And so you see the different like Missouri just got hit bad with the farmers, and they can't grow any crops this year. And when you look at where our food comes from, you see how important global warming is playing in these different forms of where our food comes from. Like 2015, my great grandmother, she was a sharecropper in Jackson, Mississippi. She moved from Jackson at age 16 to California to St. Louis in the 50s, from the 50s to LA, and that's where she lived the rest of her life. And so when I was first growing my food and started getting into the aquaponics, getting a greenhouse going in 2015, I was telling her about my project. I said, you need to come down to the greenhouse and see what we're doing here. And she said, I don't think I'm going to make it. And I'm like, that's crazy, because just the year beforehand, we was in Vegas at like 3 o'clock in the morning gambling, me and my great grandmother, and she was like 95 at that time. You know what I mean?
Wow, gambling?
Yeah, gambling, still hanging out, man.
What's your game? Bingo?
Nah, she was a casino. She was not she was at the slots. The slot machine. She played the slot machine.
I wanted you to say craps
No,
so bad. I want to see old granny out there. Come on.
She wasn't riding on 7. But she was still driving, doing cruises and everything she wanted to do. But in 2015, that was the first year she didn't garden in almost 90 years. And so it was like a drought crisis in California.
I remember that.
They didn't want you to water the garden or the grass or anything like that.
Unless it was a golf course or a Kardashian.
Yeah, and so she didn't grow anything, and so that when everything came full circle. And when she passed that year, we went to her house. I got to eat a tomato that was still hanging on. It was kind of sentimental.
Right.
And then her neighbor got up and said we caught her Farmer Brown, and what she didn't eat, she gave to people in the community. So that's like, what I'm doing. It's like the legacy she left for me. But you start looking at things differently, because most of our fruit and vegetables come from California. And so if they have a drought there, and there's water droughts and global warming with different varieties of weather that's taking effect, then you have to wonder what's going to happen to your food supply if it's in California, how it's going to affect you here in the Midwest. And so that's when we need to start thinking about growing our own food, reducing our carbon footprint from going from California all the way to here, because it got to get on the truck. They have to harvest it. Gets on the truck, has to go to like a warehouse, and then distribute to a grocery store, and then from grocery store to you, and then the preservatives and whatever sprays they sprayed it with, all those different things. And so there's so many different levels of layers that you have to look at. But I tend to look at those different things and what I'm doing. So how to be sustainable. I don't know where I got lost on that cannabis thing from there, but
it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know either. We can get back on there.
Yeah, so cannabis is trying to get more people involved in the cannabis, so reaching out. So lately I've been, traveling a lot of places. I've been in Colorado a couple of times. I've been to Canada, Toronto.
They've got it straight up legalized everywhere up there now.
Yeah, I went there last year. It was the largest aquaponic cannabis facility in Canada, and so toured their facility, see what they're doing with the because they were growing it in aquaponics, and so we using fish to raise our aquaponics to do their cannabis. So I wanted to see how they were doing it up there. So I came back, learned, and got back from Oregon last week. And so said Colorado a couple times. Went to Coachella in California, Palm Springs, and so I went to Tyson's Ranch.
That's right. I forgot about that.
So
that's open now?
No.
Okay.
He had a party out there, and I did like an interview with his daughter. She kind of looked like Mike Tyson too.
Really? Just without the face tattoo?
Yeah, with the face tattoo and a little wig, And so they had a raffle where you can smoke with Mike Tyson if you won. I put my name in a raffle, so I said if I'm going to smoke weed, I might as well smoke it with Mike Tyson my first time. So I didn't win it, so I didn't get a chance to smoke. So maybe next time.
Yeah, next time.
But I was there. It was like a project. I got a friend working on a project called the Coachella Project. It's right next to Tyson's Ranch. So the Coachella Project is like a 160-acre cannabis farm where they're going to put like their own cannabis bank on there, or resort. All these different grow facilities. I mean, it's crazy what they're doing out there in Coachella in California. So I've been looking at some things out there with them and trying to do some things. So with the cannabis and the hemp, CBD hemp, so growing that. So
I was gonna ask what's bigger or more profitable? Is it the CBD or is it the THC plant side? You know what I mean? Like,
it's just in my opinion, it's the hemp. Most people think cannabis, but hemp is more profitable because you don't have to do as many things.
Yeah, that's
as
what I
far
meant.
as regulations.
That's what I meant. CBD, the CBD or the THC. Yeah, the hemp's more profitable.
Yeah, you don't have to do as much with that.
You do a lot more with it too.
Yeah, you can do a lot more with it. Cannabis has a lot of restrictions with it, and so the hemp is pretty much you can sell it everywhere, and the market's about to open up. So it got a good 3 to 5 year run on the CBD hemp before it starts to go down. But I think it's more money in hemp.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, whatever it is, I just want it to hurry up and get here. Do you know how it's going to work, Missouri? How people can get it?
Yeah.
It means medicinal. Like, how do you even, because it's legal now, how do I go get my card?
So you have to have like a prescription of some sort to say you've diagnosed with something. And so you take whatever you've been diagnosed with to a doctor who gives the evaluation for
you go to your
cards.
normal doctor, or do you have to go to a special doctor?
You go to your doctor to get whatever illness you might have. So you might have, epilepsy or whatever it may be. But at the end of like 14 different things, cancer, diabetes,
headaches, migraines.
I don't think those, but it's up to the doctor's discretion.
Yeah. And
so at the end of it, it's like doctor's discretion. So if he's like, okay, your stomach hurt, well, I might be able to prescribe you this cannabis, and so the doctor can say, okay, I will prescribe you this. You take it to another physician who can give you the card. So he looks at whatever it is, 15-minute, evaluation. You get your card. And then you're off to the races to get where you need to get to.
So I have to go to a different physician though. And
because there's only certain doctors going to be prescribing.
So I have to figure out which physician that is. Is there a list somewhere we can find?
There's
like how do you know?
There's some people around town that's doing some pre-evaluations, and so it'll be right now you're not going to be able to get product anyway till 2020. So.
Oh wow! How come? Oh, wait, it's only 2019 now. That's next
2019,
year.
so it was next year. And so with the law, how a state house regulated is the applications for either growing dispensaries and extraction and manufacturing, the application is due in August. They'll make decisions on who gets these licenses in December. And so once you get this license in December, say I'm got a cultivation facility, I can start growing that day if I have a facility. But a lot of people aren't going to build their facility not knowing if they're going to get the license
until they have the license or not.
And so
you're way ahead of the game.
So you might be looking at 4 or 5 different months before you actually got a product to be put in the dispensary. And so you're looking at mid 2020 before you can actually get products inside these dispensaries to use, for your medical purposes.
So we got a year and a half till.
Yeah, about a year. Well, about a year.
Oh yeah, I guess it is the 4th month.
Yeah, about
right. What month are we in? January, February, March, April. Are we in April?
Yeah, we're in April.
All right.
Beginning of April. Yeah.
It's only a year.
Yeah, about.
I've gone 39.
Yeah, right. So what's one more year?
What's one more year?
Yeah, what's one more year?
What's more year? Ducking the law.
Yeah, happy 40th.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, bringing a birthday legal.
I ain't looking forward to that.
Right.
Yeah, not at all. I need to start eating better. I need to start growing some vegetable. Well, I guess I do grow. I like to grow outside though, just because that's just all I know.
Yeah,
Till a little spot. I buy plants from Sutherland's when they have them on sale and just plop them in there. Get some peppers and tomato. I like salsa. That's what I do.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with that.
A little pico de gallo.
Yeah,
that's what I'm all about.
Cilantro, onions, peppers. Yeah,
I grew peanuts. I grew peanuts one year.
Yeah, never grew peanuts.
That was fun. Every year I always try to do something different. Tomatillos.
I had some of those last year.
I like salsa verde. Throw those in there. So you guys grow basically every vegetable, or there's some that just don't do well with the aquaponics?
We do mostly.
Or some more profitable than others, and you just go towards that, or how do you choose what you want to grow? Or
we do more leafy greens with aquaponics. We grow a lot of stuff outdoors, so we'll do all our fruit and plants like our tomatoes, our peppers, watermelons, eggplants, things like that outdoors.
Okay.
Mostly indoors is all pretty much leafy greens.
Mustard greens, collard greens, lettuce.
A lot of lettuce.
Cabbage.
Not so much cabbage. spinach, some collards, basil. Do a lot of basil indoors. So those are primary vegetables indoors.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm really curious about the CBD things, or not the cannabis things.
Yeah,
So
the cannabis thing, and so it's a lot of people gonna be applying. It's about 400 people. That's
Are you? I assume that you're gonna kind of transition at least some of your stuff over to that, or all of it, or
not at 29th and Wabash. We're right in the middle of a residential area, so
okay,
I'd have to have a guard tower. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If I was gonna grow it there,
nonstop,
yeah.
around the
Plus,
clock.
I'm close to a church, so you have to have 1,000 feet from a church, and
Oh, it does.
so, yeah. So they have these different rule regulations for zoning. So
Sure.
I couldn't do it there. Plus, I'm a nonprofit, so I don't want to mix my nonprofit with this stuff we're doing there because there's a lot of kids that come by.
That makes sense.
Tours and things of that nature. So it's just a total separate entity that I'm getting into with the cannabis. So
will that be aquaponics though? The cannabis, is that what you want to do?
Yeah, we're looking at doing the cannabis and even hemp and aquaponics. Doing them both. It grows a little faster. You have a organic product, and so we're trying to start off the back with doing certified organic aquaponics.
Right.
Doing cannabis and hemp. So there's a lot of misinformation about CBD period. And even with cannabis, they have all these different chemicals put inside that help grow and stuff. And so we're trying to grow it naturally without those different inputs. And then again, you have some ways where these chemicals are getting to the waterways. And so you have to have like an environmental plan when you're growing, a cultivation license, because they got to figure out what you're going to do with all this different wastewater. And they don't want it to go down like the sewers and things of that nature. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Makes it, it's a lot of stuff that goes into growing cannabis. So
is it overwhelming at all? Like, what's your, like, the whole everything is it overwhelming at all, or you're just like, yeah, we got this, no big deal?
Not really. It's just work. You know what I mean? Just work day to day. I mean, if you want to get something done, it requires some kind of input to be put in. So
yeah,
that's how I see it. It can be overwhelming, but just life. That's life in general. I don't ever complain about it. Just something needs to be done, and I just go ahead and do it.
And you haven't had any real issues with cops, like trying to, or anybody kind of messing with you?
No,
at all, or just because they know?
No, because I do a lot of stuff in the community, so I'm not like promoting cannabis, and I don't smoke weed, I don't sell it, and so I got a mentoring program with kids, and so I don't have those issues. They just come.
I guess if you're open and honest and everybody knows, then
yeah, so I have no issues with people consuming different things. Like I said, I don't smoke, I don't promote it. It's just one of those things where it's beneficial. It's healing people, so there's medicinal benefits of this stuff. Even the CBD. So
especially the CBD, that stuff is fire.
Yeah. So my mother has like bad back pain, so she has to use like a machine or a heating pad to go to sleep, at night, because her back hurts so bad. And so I had a friend in Oregon who had a product, and so he said, hey, use some of this cream, the CBD cream.
Right. And
she applied the cream on her, so now she's sleeping better. She don't have that same back pain. And so I know this is something that she's been, dealing with for years, and now it's all of a sudden have the CBD cream that can help her sleep better. It's like, this is the healing power that this plant's been having that has been outlawed for, 70 something years. They've known that this plant had all these these powers, and they just figure out ways to criminalize it and make money off of it. So
William Randolph Hearst.
Yeah.
Yeah, and DuPont. Yeah, we have those.
A big story there, yeah. A long time ago.
Yeah, those are the two assholes we got to blame for it being illegal. It didn't even have to do with the drugs. It was the hemp part that they were against.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Politics, man. Like, it ruins everything, right?
Yeah, everything is political, so
global warming, like you're obviously a little passionate about, is extremely political, which is insane to me that science is turned political.
Yeah, everything is political because there has to be policies in place. You have to vote on these policies and vote these people in to vote on these policies, and so everything you do is political, whether you want to believe it or not.
It is, yeah.
And it's unfortunate. I hate politics, but you have to be involved in it some way, shape, or form to shape some of the things that needs to take place. So I'm down at the Capitol, meeting with the lieutenant governor, the senator, and state reps there, talking to them about my project, what I'm trying to do, trying to advocate for more equity for minorities to get inside, letting my voice be heard, speaking for the people that wants to get involved but have no idea how to get into it.
Sure.
And so, trying to create that pathway for them to have some kind of say or opportunity to get in this field.
Who's against you?
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, you're not meeting any kind of opposition or?
No, not really. I do so many different things where it's hard to talk. They might have different opinions about it, but as far as against me, it's like I'm doing so much. Where how can you talk bad about somebody's mentoring kids?
Oh no, I meant like the political side when you're going in there, like kind of talking about just the CBD or just the hemp and the cannabis stuff. Like there have to be some people that are against seeing that.
I don't know.
Or at one point there were.
I don't know who those people are.
Okay.
And I go in and speak my piece, and I'm not going back and forth with them. I just say my piece. I show up and I advocate for what I'm advocating for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they start to vote on different things, that's when you see the opposition is who voted against whatever was up there, whatever bill was written. But other than that, I'm not for sure who is actually against it because I'm not that much engaged in figuring out who's on what side, who's not on the other side. So
right.
I just try to stay in tune on people who's on the same page and meet those people there where, to push forward.
How can people if people want to get involved more with your mentorship, like your program, the aquaponics, like you earlier saying they can donate, like, can people donate time and or is money the biggest thing you want, or is like what kind of things can people do to help?
Yeah, the mentoring piece, we pretty cool on the mentoring.
Really?
We just have our group of guys who just teach these boys. We use our own money to for our program, so we don't receive grants for anything for our boys. We pretty much self-sufficient and want to teach.
Is it all boys or are there any girls?
It's all boys. It's called Males to Men.
Oh, that's right, Males to Men.
Yeah.
I remember when I first saw that, I was like, yeah, I thought something completely different.
Yeah, I get that. You run some kind of gigolo service. Or
I didn't think
like
that.
Yeah.
I thought it was more of not quite that, but I thought it was more of taking like from gents to gentlemen.
Yeah.
Or wait, what was that MTV one from G's to gents?
Yeah.
I thought it was something more like that, kind of taking player dude, like just not kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And just turn them into more gentlemen, more.
Yeah. It just, everybody's born a male, but that don't mean you're a man.
Got that right.
And so that's what we're trying to teach them. Like, you're born a male, but that don't mean you're going to necessarily be a man.
Mm-hmm.
And you have some males that's, 50 years old is not men, and our mission is to raise strong, conscious, productive young men, reestablish accountable and productive leadership in the community. And so that's our mission. We try to live by and have the voice of, hey, you have to be accountable and respectful of whatever decisions you make in life.
Right.
And that's what being a man is, just being accountable and responsible for those decisions. And so that's our main thing in teaching these boys.
It's awesome that they have a man like you teaching them that's actually doing that, and that they have an actual role model. Like, you're not just some dude speaking it. I mean, they look at you and they see you going to China and almost smoking weed with Tyson for the first time. They see you doing all this stuff. It must be really cool for them to actually see it working and seeing an actual work, like in progress. Like, holy cow! Not only is this he's not just talking a game; he's actually doing it. That must.
Well, it's, when you win something, it's like growing up with, like, somebody who's doing, like, your father might be rich or something. You're used to it. And so they don't really understand the impact of what we're doing collectively, even with the program. I don't understand what we're doing in the last week we went out and picked up trash in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And so we picked up trash in a 4-block radius over maybe 20-some bags of trash.
Wow.
And so they didn't see the impact of them picking up trash where, they just learned the week before that people from Tanzania, kids from Tanzania, Africa, was watching the Facebook and seeing some of the things we're doing. And so I have a lot of friends and people that watch from all over the world on what we're doing. And so they see some things that we're doing, so they don't understand the impact of what they're doing is being watched around the world and the globe, and so they don't know the impact they're actually doing. Even with the aquaponics, where we have people come from all over the place, they just see it as a place we're growing fish and we got goats and X, Y, and Z because it's normal to them,
right?
But they don't see the impact, the total impact on what we're actually doing because they're actually in it,
right?
And so it's hard for them to see, exactly what we're doing. So it's just normal to them,
right? That's kind of cool, though. I mean, you want that to be normal.
Yeah, I mean, it should be normal, so everybody should be doing it.
I want to do it.
Yeah, well, let's go.
I got a 100-gallon fish tank.
Well, that's a start. That's a start.
Give me a few tilapia. How about some bass? Can I throw some bass in there?
You can throw some bass in there. Some catfish, some crappie.
Really?
Yeah.
It just really doesn't matter what fish? Any
fish that,
any freshwater fish, I guess.
As long as the water's, you can grow the fish. You can do aquaponics. Can't do a saltwater fish because of the plants, but other than that, yeah, freshwater. Yep.
Man, I'm impressed with you, man. You're a big, what was I gonna say? A big piece of Kansas City. It seems like an integral part. I mean, in that, at least in certain pockets. I mean, so my podcast is I love Kansas City. Like I love just getting people in here that are doing shit for the city.
Right.
I want to support every Kansas City person that's doing something that I believe in, and it's just cool to see you guys. And you're obviously I don't know, man. Kansas City is lucky to have you. I speak for Kansas City. I don't know if you know that or not, but I do.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. I don't ever think about those things. I just do the work, and that's it. I don't need a pat on the back. I just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm just focused on accomplishing whatever it is next is in front of me. So
yeah, that's the impressive thing. It's just the humility. You're just a humble badass. That's your nickname, humble badass. I'm gonna make a T-shirt. I'm gonna sell it for you and give you all the profits for.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'll give you the link.
All right, I will put the link on there. Dre Taylor, you're a man. You're a man's man. How can people lay it all out there? How people can help you out and just find you? Here's a little spot for you, just to pimp what you want, make it easy.
What I want.
Yeah.
Nile Valley Aquaponics, NILE Valley Aquaponics. You can Google that, and you probably find 10 pages on different things we've been doing. Haven't read 90% of that stuff, and so I don't usually read those things, or podcasts. I probably won't listen to it once it's done because I was here.
Me neither.
And so
that's how I look at it. I don't really.
Yeah. So no offense. I just don't.
No, I wouldn't expect people to. Very few people listen to their own podcast when they're on here.
Yeah. So maybe it's something I need to start doing. To critique myself when I'm in these positions, but I don't do it. But yeah, NileValleyAquaponics.com. You can go on Google, find that. That's our website, NileValleyAquaponics.com, or like I said, Google it and you find different things that come up about the project. See some of the cool things we're doing, some innovative things we're doing with the co-op, Kansas City Urban Farm Co-op in Swope Park. And so, you can find us online out there. Kansas City, the city of Kansas City just posted a KC Moore magazine that's floating around in different community centers. You can read about the projects, and they did a real good write-up, and had some kids from the neighborhood that was on the cover that helps out the greenhouse. So now they're famous.
Yeah, right.
And so now they're famous, and so those are kids that been helping out from day one. And so when we was building a greenhouse, they was up on one of the levels because they have multiple levels where we grow our vegetables on top of our fish tank. So our levels where we grow our vegetables 9 feet tall in the air. So we have different levels on which we grow. And so they was up on one of the levels, two brothers hammering.
Yeah.
When we first started, and they're still with me today.
Cool.
Working. So, they're building with me. They've been there every step of the way, like I said. So we just try to, be the example, set the example we want to see, And so I got a lot of strong people who's around me, who supports me, who want to see this thing grow. And so
you must have a strong circle to kind of keep you going like this.
Strong, small circle, keep a small circle.
Right?
Everybody's humble, but these are people who's community minded, who want to do for the community and don't ask for stuff. We just do the work, man. Let's go out and just do the work.
Right.
So that's what we're about, just doing this work.
You're part of the solution.
Trying to be.
I thank you so much for being here, man.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I got a lot to think about now. This was a really thought-provoking podcast for me.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man.
No problem.
All right. We are out of here, guys. Peace out.